Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we're taking a look at the Cold Steel Micro Engage. At least that's what I call it. This is a 2.5 inch Engage. That's really the only title I see listed for anywhere. Yeah, I would call it the Mini or the Micro Engage. We're just going to refer to it as a Micro Engage through this video. This is a really cool knife. I've had this for quite a while at this point. And yeah, it's about time to review it. We are zoomed way in. I know it's a tiny knife. I like to zoom in, but let's go ahead and get us a little bit of distance here. That way we can see our size comparison. Alrighty, so let's start off with our blade length measurement. Whoa, I'm gonna be hitting the camera, I guess. Is that daisies? So let's see if this blade is indeed 2.5 inches. Yeah, look at that. What do you know? They know how to use a measuring tape over there at Cold Steel. 2.5 inches pretty much on the dot. That's all the way back to the scale. Sharpened edge is coming in 2.25, round about there. So, good deal. Okay, size comparisons. Here's the Rat Dos. Rat Uno. Yeah, it's a little guy. Just a little guy. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and grab our Elementum. There's a Praxis. Good deal, good deal. Bring out our Made in the USA comparisons. Bug Out. And the PM2. Yeah, it's a very small knife. It's definitely what I consider to be a backup knife. Let's compare it against some other small knives real quick. I have the Civivi Baby Banter. You see there, they're pretty similar in overall length. And you know what the heck? I've got this knife sitting here. So yeah, let's bring out the Rough Rider Cub. Just to make the Engage feel good, you know? Just to make him feel not so tiny. He's bigger than somebody. And then we'll go ahead and close off these comparisons by comparing it against, let's grab a Dimco 80-20.5 and, of course, the Cold Steel full-size Engage. So I think this is the smallest Cold Steel knife. In fact, I know it's the smallest Cold Steel knife in my collection. It might be one of the smallest Cold Steel folding knives ever made. You know what? We're going to have to do one more comparison. And that, excuse me as I get up and walk over here to grab it. The Espada XL. This is the biggest folding knife in my collection, and I think the biggest folding knife made by Cold Steel. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful pair. All right, materials here. What are we looking at? Well, we have these plastic, I'm not sure what Cold Steel called their plastic, Grivery or Grivex, I'm not sure, but plastic scales and a blade that is 41/16 stainless steel. We'll talk about that more as we go along. We've got a reversible pocket clip steel, and this is an Atlas lock knife. Okay, let's go to the cutting footage. So I have some overripe, or underripe, my bad, avocados, and I decided they'd be a good testing medium for this knife here, the Cold Steel Micro Engage. Bad idea. Also, wear gloves when you do knife testing. Youch. Yeah, so that's fun. Also, can't open up this stupid first aid tin one-handed. It's a doozy. Alrighty guys, we're talking about the Cold Steel Micro Engage, as I call it, or the 2.5-inch Engage. Pretty cool knife. Bit me pretty bad the other day. That was a while ago. I'm sure I'll include the entire stupid story in the video. It involves avocados and stupidness. But I figured if this guy was sharp enough to try and cut my finger off, it was sharp enough to do some review cutting. This is a crazy knife. I've talked about this many times on the channel. I love this guy. Small knife, but man, it's found a place in my heart. So, let's go ahead and start off that action. Very good, honestly. It has multiple deployment methods. So it's thumb studs. You can slow roll it. The lock is obviously Cold Steel's Atlas lock. Goes like that. The tang sticks out here, so you can front flip it, which I think is pretty awesome. And you can reverse flick it, obviously. This thing feels like it has more of a detent than the larger version that I reviewed. In fact, it feels like it has a detent. It doesn't really in the traditional sense, but gosh dang it, it kind of feels like it does. So yeah, the action's really, really cool. Very fidgety. It is running on phosphor bronze, so you know, when we pull the lock back, the blade doesn't immediately drop. You do have to give it a little bit of a shake, but it works out just fine. I think it's super fidgety, super fun. Let's talk about the ergos. Fantastic. They're great. This is one of the most comfortable tiny knives I've ever held. You have plenty of real estate there because of this area here. You can get, I mean, look, I've got a full 4-finger grip. I can put my thumb in that little harpoon swedge up there, and I'm locked in, ready to go. Very, very good ergonomics for this little guy. I'm very, very impressed. Now let's talk about how it carries. So here's a pocket clip. It's a deep carry pocket clip, not recessed, and it has button screws. It's reversible, so that's a plus. In the pocket, actually, it's not as bad as you might expect. You can see there, it's caught on those stupid button screws. Give it another little push, it goes all the way in, comes out, you know, it works. It's a small knife, so of course it doesn't really weigh a whole lot. I mean, you basically just have the blade, the lock, and these plastic scales. There's no liners. So it's very lightweight. I carry it a lot as a watch pocket knife. So I'll have it there, and then I'll have another knife in that pocket. Works pretty good in my experience. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the cutting. We've got an annoying shadow here, which sometimes makes the cutting footage not that great. Oh, you know what? We'll just scoot way the heck over. Gideon, get out of the sun. Okay, so the blade is a clip point. Love this blade shape. It's a fantastic blade shape. Gorgeous, gorgeous stonewash. Look at that. The steel is 4116, which is not a steel that normally gets me very excited. It's the steel that Victorinox uses. It's on a lot of kitchen knives. It's a stainless steel. The stainless qualities are very good, but the like the edge retention, things like that, leave a little bit to be desired. Leave a lot to be desired. However, this 4116 has surprised me. It's done very, very well throughout all my use, and it strops up really easily, which is not something I would have expected to see out of this steel, but you know, Cold Steel did it. So that's what we're working with on the steel. I've got some cardboard scraps left over from other stuff. We're going to go ahead and do our cutting with that. Flat grind. I'm not sure what the thickness behind the edge is, but I mean, it's good. Look, it gets down to nice, pretty thin tip. Nice and slicey. Really, the biggest hindrance in a slicing task is the fact there just isn't a whole lot of blade. But, you know, whatever. Utility cuts, it's really, really good at. And get your finger up there towards the very tip. Hold it kind of like this. Very, very nice and easy to use. And pull that nail out. Maybe I'll get the nail out with this knife. If you guys might remember, I did a pry bar testing video like a couple minutes before I turned on the camera for this video. Hammered a nail into this board. The titanium on that pry bar started to like bend and lose its structural integrity. You know, here's a look. We're testing the lock here. This is a good way for me to cut myself again. We've almost got that sucker. Yeah, don't have enough blade length. We're gonna get on to the other cutting. Enough wasting your guys' time. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Let's go ahead and do some pushes. I'm curious to see how it'll do at this. You know what? We'll do one grip holding it like this. Okay, that went really well. We'll do another where I have my finger up at the tip. Very nice, and then we'll just... Wow. I'm pretty impressed. It handled that very, very well. Nice job. Alright, let's do the pool noodle. This may not go very well just because the blade is so short, but we'll give it a shot. You know what, we've got a little bit of an unevenness here, a little bit of wonkiness. Let's see if we can trim that off. Yeah, the blade's really short, so that test is kind of hard to do, but it did feel nice going through there. It did feel really, really nice. So I'm going to call it a win. I'm not surprised it's a cold steel. They normally do very, very well. Okay, let's get back to the table. Ah, dang it, you're kidding me. That's how you do it. Well, here we are on the banks of the mighty Rio Grande. Gosh, it's gorgeous. Mid-November, got some snow on the hills. Look how beautiful this is. It's a gorgeous day. It's chilly but not freezing. Feels amazing. Ah, that rhymed. I've been driving for hours and I stopped to stretch my legs, take a little bit of a break, and I saw all these gorgeous schists and gneisses. Found me some cool garnets and starlights. And gosh, it's just gorgeous down here. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that shimmer on that schist. Some gorgeous schist right there. Look at all these little garnets in here. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Ooh, look at those ones. Gorgeous. Over here, I'm pretty sure these are starlights that have been a little bit stretched out during deformation. That way they're not forming their signature cross-twinning. Gosh, it's a beautiful rock. If I had superhuman strength, I would take it with me. Ugh! But alas, I'm just a regular guy. Gorgeous. Look at the ice frozen on the rock. Ah. I was going to do a little bit of rambling about this knife or that knife or something. That way I'd have an excuse to throw this in with a review. But you know what? I don't need an excuse to just share some gorgeous scenery, talk about a little bit of rocks. But you know what? I will show you what I have in my pockets right now. CJRB Crag. Cool knife. And cold steel micro engage, or whatever they're calling this. Cool knife. So this video is probably going to be going in the micro engage review, but yeah, really is just gorgeous out here. I love this time of year. I love this country. This area here, really something else. All right, let's get into what I'm liking and not liking about the cold steel micro engage. Number one, geez, actually I don't really know where to start. This is a great little knife. We'll just start there. Okay, here's the first thing I like. It's a cold steel that's friendly. So a lot of you know, I am a college student, and so, you know, I live in the city during the school semester, and oftentimes I'm in environments that may not necessarily be the most friendly to someone carrying a pocket knife. And so this is a great knife for situations like that. Obviously, you know, when I'm out on the ranch and stuff, I like to carry big, kind of aggressive, scary knives, right? But when I'm at school, I prefer to, you know, not be super threatening. And it's always a shame when I have to put away my cold steel knives and don't carry them enough or that much, because number one, they're kind of scary, and number two, I just don't have a big need for them when I'm at school. I'm not doing anything that's super heavy duty. This knife makes a lot more sense. So I get to carry a cold steel, but it's friendly, and it's more of a EDC knife. We still get a lot of, you know, things we love about cold steel though. We get that really kind of distinctive, kind of chunky look. We get a very strong lock. Yeah, I really like that. It's kind of weird to see a friendly cold steel, but hey, I'm all about it. Next thing, this stone wash, which I should have cleaned the blade before we started here today. Yeah, it's got all kinds of gunk on it. Let's flip it over to this side. Love this stone wash. Great stone wash. This blade as a whole is fantastic. Very thin. We can see that right there. Super thin. Let's bring out the Rat 2 to compare against. Yeah, we get down to a very thin tip there. Very good cutting geometry here. We have a flat grind, but again, on the blade that's this thin, it passes through material really well. The blade's shaped very nicely. You know, you've got a little bit of straight, a little bit of belly. So even for, you know, a short blade like this, you're getting basically as much sharpened edge out of it as you can. The clip point blade here drops a point down nicely so that you can get to it for drilling stuff. You can do utility cuts with this. I love that you can get your finger up here. This little poon spoon here allows you to get your finger in there like that. And let's just go ahead and talk about the ergonomics. They're great. For a small knife like this, I mean, look at that. That's a full grip. I am so glad that they got rid of this part that's on the big one. It works for the big one, you know, when this is open, you've got like kind of a, you know, you've got a guard when you're back here, you've got a nice spot when you're up there. The little one didn't need it, and so they omitted it, and that was the correct choice. You can, I mean, right here is comfortable, I'm like flipping off the back, but here's comfortable, but right here, this is where it's at. Put your thumb in there, wrap this finger around there. It's very comfortable, and it's hand-filling, and that's rarely the case with a small knife, but this one is very, very solid feeling in the hand. The pocket clip doesn't bother me. Really, really nice. The Atlas lock on this is very cool. This runs on washers, and the action is good. Look at this. So you can reverse flick it, you can thumb flick it, and you can front flip it. It's super fidgety, super fun, and it kind of feels like it has a detent. It doesn't, but I don't know. It's not like the big one. Like the big one has, where'd I put the big one? There it is. The big one has no detent. This one feels kind of snappy almost. And yes, you can still, you know, flick the blade out if you really go at it, but I found it to be super fidgety. These thumb studs I wasn't sure about. You know, they looked kind of tiny and pointy, but they work. Honestly, they work. I don't have too many complaints. Just really, really good. The front flipper feature is kind of cool. You can front flip the big one off that little nubbin. It's not as easy. You know, you gotta be skilled. You gotta be a ninja, but you can do it. However, on the little guy, getting rid of that big guard there makes it a lot easier to just whoop, pop it open. So I think that's really, really cool. You can see here how shiny this surface is. That's just because it rubs against, you know, this part here as it's opening and closing. And this thing has gotten smoother over time, which is awesome. The lock itself is very strong. You guys saw in the cutting footage, I was trying to pry that nail out. If I had decided to sit there and mess with it for, you know, a couple of minutes more, I would have got it out, but I didn't want to spend all that time doing that. Very, very strong lock. Do you need a lock that strong on a knife this small? Probably not, but hey, it's cool to have. The pocket clip is reversible, which is really cool. Makes this knife completely ambidextrous. I do like the overall design of the pocket clip. We'll come back to the pocket clip, but I do like the overall idea behind this clip. This deep carry clip I think is pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about some of the negatives. Number one, the 4116 steel is not going to be very exciting to a lot of people, and I've got a couple of thoughts. Number one, this knife performed pretty well, actually. 4116 is very simple stainless steel, used in a lot of kitchen cutlery, used in like Victorinox type knives. But this knife worked very well. I was also able to strop this knife into pretty good shape as I was using it, which I don't tend to find that to be the case with simple steel. Simple steels, in my experience, just don't really strop that well. You can strop them for a little bit and they'll like kind of take an edge, but it's like, I don't know, they'll lose it immediately. This one's stropped up very nicely. So, you know, Cold Steel has a record of taking kind of low-end or poor quality steels and doing them very well. I mean, Cold Steel does great heat treats. They really do, and this is no exception. So the steel for me is kind of a toss-up. Like, honestly, I wasn't using this knife so hard to the point where I'd want something more impressive. But, you know, whatever. I think the steel's neither a positive nor a negative. Let's talk about the materials as a whole, though. So plastic, 4116. I bought this one for $45. I think the going rate for them now is like $49.95. I've seen them on Amazon for like $60 or something. Don't pay $60 for this, okay? I do not think the materials to price ratio is the best. Yes, it's a pretty affordable knife, and honestly, I would buy this again at, $50. But I do think they could have given a little bit better value than you're getting. Oh, by the way, the fit and finish is good, perfectly centered and everything. Yeah. I think if this knife was priced around the $30 price point, it'd be a lot more impressive. Of course, the miniaturized Atlas lock here, that's going to add something to the cost, making the Atlas lock and stuff. But I think if they could have released this at like $35, I think that would have been a lot better. Next thing, this lanyard hole I think is kind of stupid. That's really big, and I can see putting a lanyard on a small knife, in case you want to just have a pocket dropper, or if you have really big hands, you want a little something extra to grab onto. But I don't know. Maybe it's okay. To me, it just seemed like it was very, very large. Something that is an actual issue, the pocket clip. It's not recessed, and we have button screws. In 2023, we should not be seeing this anymore. This should be a thing of the past. No one wants to see this. No one likes this. If you don't want to recess your clip, that's fine. Just make sure you have those flat screws. This clip is not recessed. Would it be better if it was? Yes, but right now, this clip works just fine. This clip was a little bit of a pain in and out of the pocket. It would not go in all the way. Kudos that it's reversible, but cold steel, we need to see those flat clips or those flat screws. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that at all. This pocket clip, the clip itself is fine, well designed. I like where they were going with this. Those button screws should not be there. Should not. That is not okay. No. Honestly, that's about it. The only other negative I have is that this knife tried to bite me. Actually, it did not try. It succeeded in biting me. When was that? Like a week or two ago? Let's see. What's today? Tuesday? So yeah, it was a week and a couple days ago. Yeah, it's healing up nicely. Super glue it back together and bandage it up. But yeah, that's not really a complaint. I'm just goofing around. Okay, so final conclusions on this knife. I love this knife. I have been carrying this knife pretty much every day since I got it. I love it. It's a fantastic little backup knife. It's super useful. I think the design is really, really great. And it's one of my favorite fifth pocket or backup carry knives. And sometimes I'll carry this just by itself. Again, it's very lightweight. It's very easy to carry. It's small, and it's a little more, socially acceptable than, certain other knives. I love this knife. I'm a huge fan of it. This is one of my favorite cold steels ever. Cold steel, they know how to make a good knife. They really do. At the end of the day, a knife is a knife, and it's meant to cut and be a tool, and this is definitely a really good tool. But it's also fantastic for fidgeting. It's got this neat new lock. You can play with this thing for days. See if I can do that again. There we go. Just really, really cool knife. I'm very, very glad that I have it in my collection. I really just bought it as kind of a joke. I thought it was goofy. And I'll be honest with you, I might prefer this over the full-size version. The full-size version is great, but I have other knives that, are big, chunky, overbuilt folders. I don't have any other knives in my collection that are like this. Kind of small, overbuilt, fifth pocket carry knives. That's a that's a genre I didn't know I was interested in. I didn't know I needed it in my life, but gosh dang it, it's really, really fun. So that's all I've got for today's review, guys. I definitely recommend this knife. It's very fun. It's really, really a cool piece. So if you've been on the fence about one of these, I definitely go ahead and pick one up. Yeah, the materials aren't really the best, but you know what? It works. And like I said, the 4116 steel it's not bad. It performs okay. It performs decently. So yeah. That's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful day. I've been Gideon. Adios.